Planet X TV.
Planet X, this is Don Hoffman, and I'm a Planet X person.
The brightest stars in the galaxy are on Planet X.
Only here.
Hey, check out Cecil. Here's my first skateboard dog, super champion pet. He could kill it anytime.
Only here.
Red Bull roller coaster, and check out my GoPro course preview. So the first part, you got these two hubbas going with a rail, a little spine feature, wall ride. Woo. Go over that, we got the roller coaster coming down. Ew. Ah. Got the cap over the water, and it out on the quarter pipe. And then if you're really crazy, you gotta come in here for the loop. Woo. I wanna see someone do that this weekend. That'd be sick. And that's a line.
Any place where there's a piece of concrete, a kid will test a skateboard on it.
The pipeline name evolved out of the fact that we put a pipe in it, and everybody says you got to call it the pipeline. One day, a whole group of kids drove into the parking lot and come running up to the fence and hanging on the fence, and they said, "Oh my God, it's true." This is how the word of mouth got out about the pipeline. That person happened to be Kevin Anderson. I don't know if you remember Kevin Anderson, but he was from the beach area. He hung on the fence, and I wanted to talk to him, and he just couldn't believe it. He said, "Yeah," he said, "we heard all about it, but we didn't believe it." And he says, "It's true, it's true." Yeah.
My dad drove me there. I would pester him about going to all the parks in Southern California that I read about in the magazines. And then I went there and I was frightened to death when I got there. It just seemed so big and scary.
Looking at Thrasher magazine and seeing, all the footage from the Badlands and the photos and Baldy and all the pools and Upland, everything was just so gnarly. Pipeline was by far the scariest, gnarliest, just deepest hit. It was just a big spot, where if you eat crap, you're gonna eat crap.
A proving ground for a contest, like I know talking to Tony later, they were like, once you win a contest in the Badlands, you kind of made it as a pro.
Having to step it up, so that they would accept me in there. You know what I mean? There was this element of like, I better show up and really shred, or else, you know what, get out of here, kid.
I have dreams about riding pipeline and riding the pipe and getting so far up in the ceiling, front side, with my knees, and my nose. It was good stuff.
People built gigantic areas of cement for their kids to play that lost money constantly.
Badlands film. Let's make it happen. Help us. Thanks.
The Badlands is an area, and it's basically this area between Covina and San Bernardino, but mostly right here where we're at, Upland, Claremont, Fontana area. And it's right down the foothills of Baldy. And I think that the Badlands it's kind of was in the early 60s when the pipe was built and the drainage and stuff. There was really groves. There was nothing out here and very few housing tracts, especially all around where Baldy was. So when people were around doing that, it seemed that it was a nowhere land. You know, it was the IE, man. It's still Inland Empire. People think, where in the hell is that? So I think it got that reputation. Now in the documentary, we're going to find out why is it called Badlands, and there's a lot of different reasons why people say it was, and nobody really knows. But we're going to investigate that. But it's part of why is Dogtown Dogtown. You know, Dogtown is because it was slummy, dogs were running the streets, skaters were skating it who were coming from less affluent families, and it got that name. It stuck, and I think the grit from Badlands, which didn't have an ocean, had Baldy, it became known as, you know, a good place for hardcore skaters to be hanging and stuck. It's Badlands forever. We'll be back after this break.
Planet X TV.
I'm glad everyone came today. Andrew, would you like to start?
I guess you could say I have an anger problem.
Everybody, we have some really exciting...
Hey, Brandon, you know what I think of your presentation?
Oh my God. Whoa.
Thank you for sharing, Andrew. How are you doing now?
I feel great. I can watch stand-up comedy anywhere. And I'm better in meetings.
Thank you, Andrew. You have come a long way with Laugh Lounge.
Welcome to the world's first live streaming stand-up comedy network. Subscribe now for a limited time for only $19.99 a year. Laugh Lounge. Let's laugh together.
Today, ISP has associates and consultants serving clients in numerous exotic regions all over the world. ISP represents buyers and sellers in all sorts of property needs, be it a small dwelling or a full resort. Join ISP for your own exotic adventures in real estate.
Planet X TV.
Okay, so we're here at the Badlands. This is the area that is known for skating, some of the legends, some of the most iconic skate structures in the world. Right now we're at the public park, which emulates some of the things that were here, the Baldy Pipe and the Pipeline Skate Park original, which was built in 1977. So they asked me, well, how come there's a skate park here, you know? And I go, well, I was surfing and hanging out in Encinitas and waiting tables and didn't know what I was gonna do. And a guy came over to the house that I was living at, and he introduced himself. His name was Frank Nasworthy. And Frank, you know, was just a surf bum out there hanging out, but he also was the guy who saw that urethane wheels would work on a skateboard, and it became Cadillac wheels. So he was talking about doing a skate park in Florida, and at that point in time, there was Carlsbad Skate Park, and there was the Wave in Anaheim, and a couple others, but it was pretty new. I thought, you know, as a surf bum, you know, kind of college graduate, not knowing what to do, how cool it'd be to run a skate park. So he said, look, you can invest, we need some investors. And what I did is I was able to get $10,000, which I didn't have, but I got it from my family. So to get it from my family, I came up and made a pitch, said, hey, this is a great investment, I need this. Long story short, I eventually got $10,000 out of my mom, my dad, my uncle, my grandfather. And I gave it to Frank, and we started the skate park, or tried to build a skate park in Florida. But I got a call a few months later, and my dad said, hey, you know, I was thinking about that, and, you know, I've been talking to guys around here, and, you know, maybe we should build a skate park up here. Would you be interested in helping me? You know, well, sure, no problem. So that was '76, came up here, looked around, went to some of the spots, talked to the guys. My dad had already been pretty much onto it, and he said, hey, you know, let's do it. And he got another partner, and we built the Pipeline Skate Park, which opened in 1977, Memorial Weekend. It was an iconic skate park because it was the first park to really bring elements that were seen in the environment, but you couldn't get to legally a lot of times. Backyard pools, ditches, and of course the Baldy Pipe. We built the pipe similar to what you see in at Baldy, and put it in this public venue where everybody could see what could be done there. And all the skaters who came there, and we had competitions, and basically taking skateboarding that was really happening, but nobody could see it because it was semi-legal and kind of not what you're supposed to do, and got the exposure, and they got sponsors and contests, and from the 70s, it was a big thing, but kind of faded off early 80s, but by the later 80s, 83 on, it became a big thing again, and in 1980, in order to keep up with the other skate parks that were being built, we didn't have coping, so we said, well, we need to make a pool. And the pool was kind of hard to come up with because there was keyholes, round pools, kidney pools, and the L pool was a square pool originally, which was something that was very skatable and people wanted to do. So the legend has it that myself and Steve Alba, but you know, whose idea it was, I think it was everybody's, because I said, well, what do you guys want? And what we said, well, you know, we went around, I said, well, let's try this. So I took a lump of clay and I go, well, let's start doing stuff. So we made a square, we made it round, and kind of dug it out, and we ended up having a square round pool combination. It became the combi pool. So we built the combi pool, long story how that went, and all this could be found in the documentary called Badlands, an off-the-wall skateboard story that I'm working on and been working on 10 years, and hopefully it'll be out. But because the combi pool got built, it was gnarlier than any other pool around, but it was also a combination and gave lines and different things that had never been seen before. And of course, Vans made a replica, 2 replicas of it later on at the Block and now in Huntington Beach. But in the 80s, it really brought home all that competition, and the gnarliest legends now, from the Tony Hawks to Lance Mountains to Christian Assoys, including Mickey Alba and Steve Alba, all skated that pool and became legends doing so. So basically, that's how it all started. Worked through the 80s. By the end of 80s, skateboarding had kind of...
Everyone losing their marbles.
That is well though, but this is what the judges want to see.
Oh, and here we go. How can you
my goodness!
Look, the Olympics still going. What? Catch us in Tokyo 2020. Spanish team, USA. Let's go, baby.
We'll be back after this break.
Planet X TV. Planet X TV.
So one of the really cool elements that's happened is over the years, Stacy Peralta's been doing most of his documentaries, in fact all of them, using a thing called a motion matte camera. And it's very rare, it's old school stuff, and all you computer guys, you're gonna go, oh, I can do it on my computer, you can do it in all these programs, but it's a really unique instrument. In fact, you'll see it here in this piece, that allows us to do some really organic feel for pictures and things like that. And I was able to reconstruct it again, and it's in 4K and all the latest stuff. So Stacy Peralta's been able to utilize it now that I've rebuilt it for his new Jerry Lopez surf film, and it's going to be a documentary out probably this next year, and I'm really excited to see that. So check it out.
This is what I've used for all of my films. I've used this on Bones Brigade. I've used this on Dogtown. I've used this on Riding Giants. I use this on Crips and Bloods. I use this on Bones Brigade. I used it on the Pipe Masters. I've used it on every documentary I've made. I used to work on this machine at a company in Santa Monica called Hit Squad, and it was owned by TJ and Martin. And they did a lot of behind the music for VH1. So they needed to shoot photographs constantly. So they had what's called a motion matte camera. You take a photograph, you put it down on this table. This table moves left to right, forward, backward. There's a camera on top. It zooms in and out. Nick is over here operating 2 joysticks. He can push in, push out, go left, go right, go forward, go backwards. So there's so much you can do. I've been here 2 days and I've probably shot 5,000 or 6,000 photos. I couldn't have done that on a computer. And I like the elegance of this because it's a much more organic feel. It's way more organic than what you can get in a computer. I can speed up the moves. I can slow down the moves, I can bump the moves, I can do all sorts of things. I'm super grateful this machine is available, I really am, because you can't get these anymore.
The brightest stars in the galaxy are on Planet X.